Good morning, everybody. Diane Doyle here with Plant-Based Dallas. And I had shown you a video the other day of sauteing veggies. And here's another use for those sauteed veggies that you have in the fridge if you make them at the beginning of the week. This is Polenta Pie, which is in the Esselstyn's Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease Cookbook. This is written in 2014. It's old news, but it is a great cookbook. Polenta Pie on page 204. And I changed it up a bit because they don't saute the vegetables ahead of time. They just put them on there. So I like to saute them and have them a little bit softer when we eat it. And you can use whatever vegetables you have in the fridge in your jars. They suggest peppers and pinto beans and onions, but I added, and then they also included a green, but I added some cut up raw pumpkin that I had. I added some jalapenos. I added some black beans. So whatever you have, it doesn't really matter, but you cook the polenta on the stove top, 3 cups of water to 1 cup of cornmeal, and spice that up a bit. And then once that takes about 15 minutes, then you put it in a pie pan. And then I had my sauteed veggies that I just added on top here. And you add a little bit of Mexican spices like chili powder, chipotle powder, garlic, onion powder, things like that. And then I believe we're going to bake this for a little bit to set the cornmeal. But I did want to show you a couple things. A lot of you all have asked about the veggies in my jars, so I'm going to do a little bit of time on that right now. This broccoli was cut on February 4th, and yes, it is still good because we don't open it up all that often, and it may smell bad when you first open it. That's the sulforaphane buildup that's inside of it, and that's all good for you, so don't let that worry you. We have the rest of the green cabbage, although that was cut on 2/8. We're almost out of that. I've got mushrooms, and this was a container of black rice and adzuki beans that I took out of my freezer. So this was in my freezer that I made back in September of 21, took it out of the freezer, and we're using that this week. Love to grate carrots, those are raw. And I have my chopped bell peppers that I did by hand because I like them in a little bit bigger chunks. I use my Vidalia onion chopper for the radishes. And I've got sliced Brussels sprouts that I did on 2/18, still perfectly good. Raw pumpkin that I have in chunks to use for soups and stir fries or whatever. That was chopped on February 15th. And remember, today is February 28th. So this stuff keeps a lot longer than you think it would. I did cooked some multiple grains last week. These were cooked on February 22nd. And again, be sure to rinse and drain those. Then you can just pour them out into whatever you need, whether it be a salad or a breakfast bowl. These were some chickpeas that I cooked up this week in the Instapot. And remember that you can look up those magnets that I have on Plant-Based Dallas. Here's some cauliflower, and I think I cut this up on 214, but I'm gonna put this in the air fryer and get it soft and sort of bake it on a sheet, and then I'm gonna add a bunch of chili powder to it and put that back in the jar so that this cauliflower is ready to put on top of bowls, already cooked and spiced. Here's our chopped up turmeric and ginger that we keep in our jars, and we put that on almost everything. And if we feel like we're getting sick, we come and eat a teaspoon of this, 2 or 3 teaspoons a day, and we'll knock that cold right out. Let's see, I also like to keep big cut cucumbers for hummus for a quick snack, just like I like to keep big pieces of carrots and celery as well. Here's some pinto beans that I cooked earlier this week on 225. And again, those can be put in burritos, on salads. Here's some chopped cucumbers that I'll put in salads. So I have 2 forms of cucumbers. I just cut up some collard greens, and you can always substitute any green for whatever green they call for in the recipe. You don't have to use that green. So these collard greens I just cut up today, but they will stay easily for a month, but we'll use them within the week. Here are some fenugreek seeds that started to sprout that I sprouted, so I have those to add on top of salads. Celery, and that was done on February 14th. Poblano peppers, just a few left of those, done on 2/21. And the rest of the tomatoes I need to use up. Those were halved. I like to do the grape tomatoes and halve those. Those were done on February 20th. So those are 8 days old. Still good, still fine. You can smell them. You can, if there's anything wrong with them, very rarely do we have to throw away any veggies. In fact, if I sense that they might be going bad, I may put them in the freezer and use them for a soup or stew later. Might as well talk about this since this is sitting right here. You know that you can regrow your celery. These are 2 organic celery stalks that I had, and I cut the celery off, chopped it up, and then you can see that it's sprouting from the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these out in my garden this week, and yep, indeed, they will grow celery. And I guess that's it. Again, this is the Esselsyn's Cookbook, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. This is the Polenta Pie, and let me look, yes, you bake for 50 minutes. And I may not need to bake it that long since I already pre-cooked my veggies, and the cornmeal is also cooked. So really, I probably won't cook it that long. I'll squeeze some fresh lime juice on top of it and add a little bit of fresh cilantro, and voila, polenta pie. This would be wonderful for your friends that are not plant-based, and you could serve it for a meal and they would never even know. No oil, no dairy, and you can use black beans. I used variety of assortment beans in here, but to make it more friendly for your non-plant-based crowd, throw some black beans in there that's definitely recognizable and they'll be happy. Alrighty, y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.